This is the Locked On Jets podcast on this Sunday evening. It's October 30th, 2022. I'm your host, John B. from GangrenNation.com. If you are new to this show, this is a daily podcast covering the New York Jets. We have new episodes each day, Monday through Friday through the week, and then additional episodes as needed as news breaks or to recap games. If you enjoy the show, hit the subscribe button where you're watching or listening so that you'll get notifications as new episodes are posted. You'll never miss an episode of Locked On Jets. This is a postcast as the New York Jets lose to the New England Patriots 22-17 at MetLife Stadium. The Jets' record falls to 5-3 on the 2022 season. They squander an opportunity to go to 6-2. I think back to what I said on Friday's episode. I said it over and over that this was a test of maturity for the Jets. And this is a team that maybe on the whole is not all that young, but many of the key players are very young on this team. And through the season, they have risen to the occasion each time they faced adversity. They've been a great fourth quarter team. They've been great in pressure spots. Today, they showed a lack of maturity, I think. This game really turned on two plays late in the second quarter. The Jets, it felt like, were in total control of the game. The offense was playing pretty well. The defense, I thought, was looking good. Now, they were allowing too many third down conversions against New England, and C.J. Mosley was a big culprit in that, but they had held New England to 3 points. And then two plays, and the game kind of became unraveled when the Jets were in total control. The first was a Zach Wilson interception. And in that situation, you have to understand score. You have to understand time as much as anything. You're about to head to the locker room. You got a 7-point lead. The last thing you want to do is put the ball in harm's way. And that's what Zach Wilson did. He kind of panicked when he was under pressure. He kind of backpedaled. He airmailed a pass, and it went the other way for New England. And it's unfortunate because the first 28 minutes of this game, it was shaping up to be one of Zach Wilson's best games in the NFL, and it ended up unraveling from there and really turning into one of Zach Wilson's worst games in the NFL. So the Patriots had the ball in scoring range, and then the Jets got a big play. Michael Carter II intercepted a Mac Jones pass and took it all the way to the end zone. They're celebrating. The fans are fired up. The Jets are about to go up 17-3. They have been the better team. It was clear through the first 30 minutes of this game, the Jets were the better team. Jets were the better team and they were in control of the game. And they're about to go up 2 scores. New England doesn't know what hit them. The Jets are about to run them out of the gym. Unfortunately, the play was called back because of a roughing the passer penalty on John Franklin Myers. And I understand some Jets fans are upset about this. Listen, I was ready to lose my mind over this because I could not believe that this was going to be taken off the board. You know the way the NFL sometimes throws suspect roughing the passer flags in this day and age. Then I watched it. I mean, that's roughing the passer. I'm sorry, that's just roughing the passer. It was a bad play by John Franklin Myers. So New England ended up getting a field goal right before the half to cut it to 10-6. So the Jets were still in the lead, but they were on the verge. I mean, they were about to take a 2-touchdown lead to the locker room in a game where New England was really struggling, and the Jets looked like the better team. And things just kind of fell apart from that point. The opening kickoff of the second half was terrible by Braden Mann. The Patriots got the ball in good field position. They ended up scoring a touchdown on a 4th-and-1 play. You follow that up, the Jets miss a field goal. Patriots go down and get another field goal. And then Zach Wilson just falls apart. And there's really no other way to put it. Zach Wilson fell apart in the second half of this game. After, again, what was a pretty good start to the game, Zach Wilson threw 2 just horrific interceptions. All 3 of these interceptions were terrible by Zach Wilson. And these resulted in 2 more field goals for New England. Zach Wilson missed a 4th down throw when Tyler Conklin was open. It was an ugly game. I think this was one of Zach Wilson's worst games as a pro. Zach Wilson there were lots of reasons the Jets lost this game. Again, special teams was not good. I told you, bad kickoff. You had a missed field goal. Special teams was bad for the Jets in this game. Braden Mann hit a couple really bad punts in this game as well. Special teams was bad. The offensive line was just horrific. The offensive line was, and which you would expect because there are so many players injured on this offensive line. And look, the Jets' running game was not what it was when Breece Hall was in the lineup. So all of these factors do come into play. But Zach Wilson, it just was not good today. And, at some point, you have to say, this is not going the way we want it to go. You can excuse it the last 2 weeks when the Jets are still winning, even though Zach Wilson's not playing that well. But here we are. We're 18 games into Zach Wilson's career, and he's still making mistakes like this. And not only is he still making mistakes like this, 18 games into his career, do you know how many games where Zach Wilson has had an above NFL average passer rating in those 18? The answer is 2. It's just not happening for Zach Wilson right now. And he's, even when he was succeeding early in this game, this was not him putting on a master class in the pocket. he made a couple plays. There were a couple times he was under pressure and he evaded it and improvised, which is better than what we've seen so far from Zach Wilson. But it's not like he's scanning the field, and he's still very much a 1 to 1.5 read quarterback, I think. And when his first read's not there, he kind of panics and he bails on the pocket early. And these 2 interceptions, I mean, these were, like I said, these were horrible interceptions. And you've seen these tendencies even in games where he's been turnover free, where he's putting the ball in danger. And I don't know exactly what the numbers are with him putting the ball in danger, but relative to how conservatively he's played in the last couple of weeks, he's thrown a lot of high danger passes. And finally his luck kind of ran out in this game. And I don't mean to say Zach Wilson's the only reason the Jets lost this game, but he's up there. And not only is he up there, he's not where you want him to be at this point of his career. 18 games in, still making a lot of mistakes. But there were more culprits than Zach Wilson. As we continue here on this postcast edition of Locked On Jets after this loss to New England, we'll talk about some of the other people who deserve some blame for this Jets defeat. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp Therapy Online. I think we've learned the last couple of years that taking care of your mental health is just as important as taking care of your physical health. There are so many different approaches you can take. You can try meditation, you can try exercise, you can try talking to a friend, but therapy is also a great option for many people. It helps you learn coping skills, it helps you find self-empowerment, helps you deal with trauma. Everybody deserves to feel their best, and BetterHelp makes it easier to get started. As the world's largest therapy service, they have matched millions of people with professionally licensed and vetted therapists available 100% online. It has all the benefits of in-person therapy, and it's more convenient, more accessible, and more affordable. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to match with a therapist, and if things aren't clicking, you can easily switch to a new therapist anytime. It could not be simpler. There are no waiting rooms, no traffic, no endless searching for the right therapist. Get unstuck with BetterHelp. Learn more and save 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/lockedon. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/lockedon. Well, tonight is certainly not a night Jets fans are going to be celebrating, but better days are ahead, and you might have a big occasion coming up. Whether you're looking to pop the question, have a milestone to celebrate, or want to let your love sparkle, Blue Nile can help you make your celebrations even more memorable. As the original online jeweler, Blue Nile offers the largest selection of independently graded diamonds and pieces priced significantly below traditional retailers. Blue Nile has helped millions of couples create their perfect engagement ring. Their easy online tools let you choose the diamond, shape, size, and clarity, as well as setting style. Blue Nile's bench of jewelers will then help you handcraft her perfect one-of-a-kind engagement ring. And if you're looking for a piece of fine jewelry to commemorate a special milestone, but you're still having trouble choosing, Blue Nile has jewelry experts on hand 24/7, available via phone or chat to help you find a memorable gift at every budget. Make your moment sparkle with Blue Nile. Go to BlueNile.com and use code LOCKEDON to save $50 on your purchase of $500 or more. BlueNile.com, code LOCKEDON. This is the Locked On Jets podcast, a postcast episode as the New York Jets fell on Sunday to the New England Patriots 22-17 at MetLife Stadium. Plenty of culprits in this game. We talked about Zach Wilson. The special teams was bad. I mentioned 2-3 times New England had scoring drives in this game that were set up by special teams failures by the Jets. The returning game did not get anything going. Braxton Berrios did not have a good game as a returner. Greg Zuerlein missed a field goal. Braden Mann, short kickoff early in the second half that set New England up with a short field. It just kind of felt like the Jets got unraveled by those 2 plays right before halftime. The Zach Wilson interception, which certainly seemed to just impact him tremendously through the rest of the game, where he really struggled until it was garbage time, and the Jets finally put together a drive. Denzel Mims had a big run after a catch, and the Jets were able to score on a touchdown pass from Zach Wilson to Tyler Conklin. But between the first interception and that garbage time, Zach Wilson was really bad, and it felt like he just did not trust what he was seeing out there. And prior to that, again, he was playing pretty well. He was making some plays. He even made some plays under pressure, which has been a big problem to this point in the season. But Zach Wilson kind of fell apart. The Jets it felt like as a team that kind of lost their composure. But something else that has to be pointed out in this game, and that's a question of what Mike LaFleur is doing on offense, because Elijah Moore barely played in this game. Elijah Moore did not get many snaps in this game. And you know something? Listen, I don't know how good Elijah Moore is going to be, but if you don't want this guy to be on your team, don't play him. But don't dress him and then have him, playing comparable number of snaps to Jeff Smith. That doesn't make any sense, because you can't tell me Jeff Smith gives you a better chance to win. If you're making a disciplinary move, then bench him. Don't put him in the game. But early in the second half, the Jets were down 13-10. And there was they were kind of on the fringes of field goal range. This is when Zuerlein missed the field goal. And on a second down play, I looked out on the field, and the 5 eligible receivers were Garrett Wilson. Okay, Garrett Wilson's pretty good. The other 4 were Ty Johnson, Braxton Berrios, CJ Uzama, and Tyler Conklin. And I understand. Listen, Tyler Conklin actually played a pretty good game. And I've been very hard on Tyler Conklin. He was pretty good. But these are 4 guys who are essentially backup caliber players. And you don't have Elijah Moore on the field in that situation. It doesn't make any sense. And these are plays where the Jets failed. And then on third down, Denzel Mims came in. Again, Elijah Moore's not on the field. Braxton Berrios has a difficult time separating from the slot. Elijah Moore would have been a guy to have on the field at that point. And again, if you don't want him on the team, if you're just tired of him, then get rid of him. Bench him, trade him. But don't pull this stuff where he's kind of on the team, but he's kind of not, because that doesn't make any sense. So to me, as much as anything, this was I think the coaches deserve some grief in this game. And I think frequently the coaches get too much of the criticism, but you look at the way this team kind of unraveled in the locker room. In the second half, they came out and played terribly. I think some of the blame has to go to the coaches. And that was, the usage of Elijah Moore issue. That's one example. But just look at the general lack of composure this team showed. How they were making mistake after mistake. How it just felt like this game got away from them. It completely unraveled. And what's frustrating is, again, it's not like New England was a much better team in this game. The Jets were controlling this game early. The Jets were dominating. I would say the Jets were borderline dominating through the first half. And then, they made a couple mistakes. And this is what's frustrating. Listen, we've watched the Jets. If you've been a Jets fan for years, you've watched New England be superior to the Jets over and over. And you watch these games and you say, there's nothing they can do. Because New England had Tom Brady. They had Gronk. They had, at times, Randy Moss. New England's had plenty of great players. All the guys they had on defense through the years. And there have been many times where I've watched games and I said, you know what, the Jets had no shot. New England was a much better team. These teams are close. These teams are comparable. And on some level, I think some of this has to go on the coaching staff. And I understand, listen, if you had told me before the season, Jets will be 5-3 at this point, of course I would have taken it. And I do think there's some perspective that needs to be had here. The Jets are still 5-3. The Jets are still sitting in pretty good shape, even with a tough game against Buffalo ahead. And, they're playing at home. It's a divisional game. Buffalo's going to be favored. Buffalo should be favored. Buffalo's the better team. But divisional games in your building, they're always a bit of a wild card. So I want to keep that in perspective. But it's frustrating because everything was lining up for the Jets this year. Everything still can line up for the Jets this year. But it really feels like they let one get away in this one. It feels like they let a couple bad plays snowball. And it doesn't feel like the coaching staff put everybody in the position to win. That could have been won. In fairness, the Jets did not get winning efforts out of 2 of their 3 phases. Again, I think the defense was good, aside from the first half when they were allowing every third down to be converted. But they held the New England out of the end zone in the first half. Offense was not good enough. And the running game, we know that they're going to miss Breece Hall. We know they're going to miss Elijah Vera Tucker. The running game was not good enough in this one. The passing game, we've been over Zach Wilson's issues. Pass protection also wasn't there. This was a team loss. Coaching deserves some blame. Offense deserves some blame. Special teams deserve some blame. I'll lay off the defense. A very frustrating loss, though, for the New York Jets. Anyway, that's all for our postcast episode today. This has been the Locked On Jets podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day is our motto. If you enjoy the show, again, hit the subscribe button wherever you're watching or listening so that you'll never miss an episode. If you're listening on a podcast source, please give the show a 5-star review. It helps us out tremendously, helps other Jets fans find the channel. So does giving this episode a big thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube. We'll be back tomorrow with our full recap. It'll be a regular Monday episode where we'll offer a more in-depth analysis of why the Jets lost to the New England Patriots. Until then, enjoy your evening, everybody.